Forget what's happening with the current Pokemon market because it seems some of your favorite Scarlet and Violet sets are getting reprinted. Though I think the real question is there actually any point to be excited about this? Though before we get into this video, I'm actually gifting this awesome Inteleon VMAX alternate art from Fusion Strike. Now this is an amazing card that deserves a new home. Feel free to add some discussion to today's video, and if I reply to your comment and I add the Sylveon emoji, then this card is getting sent your way. And of course, if you are new to the channel, my name's Phil. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel to stay in the loop of Pokemon investing and TCG topics. Though reprints are something that's being thrown around a bit right now, and while it definitely is exciting, there's something unique that could happen because what we are hearing is that a lot of sets are getting reprints, like a whole bunch right now. Now, if the market is oversaturated with products, this may provide a unique opportunity because if this is timed well, everyone will be focusing on Journey Together and Destined Rivals, and then you've got Prismatic Evolutions, which is getting some reprints. Though, you know, if we do get the Paldea Evolved, Surging Sparks, Paldean Fates, Obsidian Flames, Twilight Masquerade, all at the same time, there will naturally be a point where too many options are available and it could provide a unique opportunity. Though with this news, it would be good to have a price in mind of what you'd be willing to pay for sealed product if it does go down in value. Because you can prepare for some seal to drop in price, and if you're hoping to get reprints at a good price, this actually brings me to the paid partner of today's video, which is Misprint. So during waves of reprints and times when market fluctuations are happening in the Pokemon world, having Misprint in your toolkit actually is incredibly beneficial. So Misprint is a US-based website which allows you to buy and sell at community-driven prices and pairs you with the best offers in real time. So as you can see right here, what's so unique about Misprint, it actually has a buy it now price, but also a very unique sell now feature. What makes Misprint so different is that you can actually set the price you're willing to pay for an item in advance. If the market price ever drops to your set amount, whether due to reprints, restocks, or natural fluctuations, your offer is automatically in place, making the purchase happen instantly. For example, one argument against investing in Pokemon is that you don't have immediate liquidity with your products or cards like other forms of investing. Though that argument is slowly losing strength, as Misprint really solves that issue by giving an option for immediate liquidity. Definitely feel free to check out Misprint. The link to the website is in the description of this video. Now, there's obviously been a lot of drama with Pokemon reprints because it has been a bit of a game of he said, she said, and no one really knew an answer of what's going on, though it seems the general consensus that reprints will be happening for a few sets, which include booster boxes of Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, Twilight Masquerade, Surging Sparks, and even Paldean Fates booster bundles. Now, Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade are not really that surprising, though Paldea Evolved getting a reprint is quite a big deal, as that set was released in 2023. So this extended reprint window is pretty exciting. However, one question that a lot of us may be wondering, and while it may seem a little bit negative, it's also a little bit true, will this even make a difference? And I think there's a chance it could cause prices to drop depending on how much is released. So if you're new to the world of Pokemon investing and collecting, right? Traditionally, before this new whirlwind of hype happened, this is how reprints usually went, right? Phase 1 was reprints are announced and slowly sealed products and singles begin moving downwards as the market begins pricing in the reprint. Phase 2 is when reprints actually arrive and collectors can purchase their products again for retail price. And then phase 3 is singles of reprinted sets usually have a strong price decline, usually around 20 to 30%. I mean, a recent example of this was Crown Zenith when Sea and Sky boxes were released, which certainly caused Crown Zenith singles to take a very sharp decline. Though that's before this new hype period with hundreds of collectors entering and all these new hype beasts. So while that's usually how the market behaves, there's also a chance it could have little effect because there's so many people right now purchasing and scalping products. For example, with Blooming Waters, we didn't really see any impact on sealed 151 or the singles prices. So right now it is anyone's guess. Though I think giving some of my own market insights into what's happening will be pretty beneficial. So let's look at the current market. But nonetheless, we are now looking at the prices of some sealed product along with the prices in the market for some of the sets that are getting reprinted and some of the singles. So as I said, what's very important to understand, and this is going through just usual kind of previous ways of how reprints work. There was the phase 1 when the reprints are announced, like what's happening right now, and a lot of the sealed products slowly comes down in value. And you know, some people who've been holding a lot of sealed products start putting it on the market. There's more people not too bullish on this and they start selling. Then the second phase is when the reprint actually comes. There usually is a big market decline. A lot of people buy their products. And then finally, when the reprints actually opened and all this product enters the market, usually singles start dropping in value. Then again, this is kind of using using that pre-hype kind of mentality and kind of the knowledge from the past. But the problem is we don't know what's going to happen in the future because, like I said, with Blooming Waters, that wasn't the case at all because Pokemon 151 was so much in demand. But I do have a little bit of hope because there's so much different products getting reprinted, and because there's going to be this huge whirlwind of reprints, I'm kind of hoping that the market can take a strong decline because of this. But then again, it's anyone's guess, right? But looking at Paldea Evolved right here, I'm on the 3-month graph. Now, you can see in the last 3 months, this was selling for around 140 USD a booster box in December of last year. And currently Paldea Evolved is selling for $222 a booster box, which is really expensive, dude. Like that's actually getting pretty expensive right now. If we pull this into the year graph, you can actually see Paldea Evolved has had an interesting journey. Last year around this time, you could buy Paldea Evolved for 105 USD. Do I think it's going to go back to those prices with a reprint? Absolutely not. But I do think depending how big it is, there may be a chance because, you know, there's going to be so many kind of parts moving, but there could be a chance that we do see a pretty big market drop from that 222. Though again, it's anyone's guess. We don't know how heavy it's going to be. We don't know how many people are just going to be buying all these sets. But like I said, the fact that there is a lot of reprints happening at the same time could help because people have to be kind of picky and choosy with what they want to get, right? So there is a little bit of hope as well, right? And moving on to some Paldea Evolved singles, you can see the Marill has had some pretty interesting price movement, and you know, we can expect singles to go down usually, like I'm saying, right? I'm using my past experiences with reprints and putting it into what's going to happen now. But then again, like I said, it is anyone's guess at the moment. You know, this Marill was selling for $7.50 in March. Right now it's selling for 36 USD, probably a little bit overinflated if you ask me, especially that more kind of products going to enter the market. I'm hoping that this does get a market pullback. I think one that really could deserve a market pullback is the Magikarp illustration rare, currently selling for around $277 raw. I think that's really expensive. I get Paldea Evolved is such an expensive booster box. I get it's out of print. I get all that. But at the same time, I think $277 when the PSA 10 hit rate for this is under 20% is probably a little bit overinflated. But then again, it's anyone's guess. Like, don't forget, and I'm going to take you through that in a sec, but I mean, if we're looking at Bubble Mew from Paldean Fates, that's actually having a pretty strong price decline at the moment. So I do expect we can see some cracks in the market, especially depending on how big this reprint is. Moving on to the next one, which is Obsidian Flames. Now, depending on this, we're going to see what happens here, but you can see Obsidian Flames, if we pull this into the year graph, this was selling for around $106 last year around this time, currently selling for 188 USD. If we pull this into the 1 month graph, you can see right now with this graph, it's not exactly just going up and up and up, kind of like Paldea Evolved is. So hopefully Obsidian Flames does get a bit of a market pullback as well. I do think it's a cool set, but I do think Obsidian Flames, and I know a lot of people are just, everyone, sometimes when sets, you know, get old, everyone just starts appreciating them a lot. And I kind of want to have a bit of a sober view on this. And I think Obsidian Flames is cool, but I do think it left a lot to be desired. I mean, you've got Charizard, the SIR, which is awesome. But then, I mean, I think that Ninetales could have been a special illustration rare. The Pidgeline is cool. Some of the other illustration rares in Obsidian Flames are cool. But then again, when we look at Paldea Evolved, I still think Obsidian Flames was a big step down from Paldea Evolved. But then again, that is my own opinion. I remember when Obsidian Flames released, it did have quite a lukewarm reception. That's obviously changing. Perception always changes with collectibles over time. Like even Fusion Strike, when that released, you know, people were kind of looking at Evolving Skies and they weren't too happy with Fusion Strike. Though right now, I mean, everyone's just talking how Fusion Strike's the best set of the Sword and Shield era, and you know, people can't get enough of it and all this. So, you know, you do have to be mindful that perception can change quite rapidly. And while we're talking about perception, you can even see this Houndour illustration rare from Obsidian Flames obviously had some weird manipulation. You can see in the last 3 months on that graph, it's kind of looking like a huge bell right now on how it kind of traveled. You can see this was selling for around $2 in December, spiked all the way up to 32 USD, and currently now selling for 15 USD. Some real strange movements in the market. I do think from $2 to $32 was, you know, pretty much out of the realms of common sense. So I do think that that's more healthy seeing it at 15 USD. But then again, you know, you can expect some of these illustration rares definitely to go down in value, particularly the raw prices, because I did cover it in another video. But some of those, you know, PSA 10s of these illustration rares will be more desired than the raws, because a lot of illustration rares, they have like a 10 to a 15% chance to get PSA 10s, right? A lot of them, right? So because of that, I do think the PSA 10s are quite more desirable than the illustration rares as a raw counterpart. Also, while doing this, a lot of people probably wonder what's actually a really good way to stay up to date with Pokemon news. And an excellent place to stay up to date is within my channel's Discord server. So I've put hundreds of hours to create a welcoming community, and it's one of the best ways to stay up to date with the current Pokemon TCG market. You can actually ask questions, post your TCG pools, and you can even showcase your collection with the community. So feel free to join the Discord. The server invite is in the description of this video. And of course, you can see the Charizard special illustration rare from Obsidian Flames. This one never really took off. I mean, I'm pulling that into the year graph. It has gone up in value, but like considering that this is a top chase card of Charizard, I personally feel like the community and collectors, they've kind of gotten a little bit over Charizard. I mean, still, if Charizard gets released as a top chase card, it will be desired. There's just so many people who love Charizard, but at the same time, I do think sentiment has changed, and a little bit of people are kind of like, when we see a Charizard chase card, we're just like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, I don't think so many people are so excited when we see one, and I think Obsidian Flames is a pretty good example of that as well, because you can see this card was selling for around 50 USD last year, and right now it's selling for 73 USD. So it has had a decent percentage increase, but then when you're looking at other top chase cards of other sets as special illustration rares, they're just going way higher than that. I mean, Greninja's like, you know, what is it, like 5 times the price of that. So it's interesting to see how the market is responding to a Charizard as a top chase card for Obsidian Flames. Now, moving on to another one, which is Twilight Masquerade booster boxes. Now, this has actually been growing quite steadily in value. You can see Twilight Masquerade in September was selling for around 143 USD. Right now, selling for 221. It's pretty much matched Paldea Evolved. Don't forget, Twilight Masquerade does have some pretty good cards in it. Obviously, the Greninja is one of the top chasers. You've got the Eevee illustration rare. You got that Chansey illustration rare. There is all the Ogerpons as well, which kind of are unique artworks. They're probably not the highest for in terms of people who like investing in collectibles. But then again, it does have some pretty cool and unique artworks. I do think Twilight Masquerade deserves a reprint. It still is a pretty recent set with all things considered, not even a year old. And I really do hope that, you know, if Twilight Masquerade does come into the wild and, you know, a lot of people get their products, I'm really hoping that this can calm down. But then again, it is anyone's guess right now. Don't forget, when Lost Origin got reprinted, the Giratina, it's actually got quite a similar price trajectory as the Greninja, which I'm about to take you through in a second. But you know, when Lost Origin in 2023 got that reprint, it was like mid to late 2023. Man, I mean, Giratina did take a huge decline in value. So we can expect maybe similar things to happen with Greninja, but then again, we just don't know how much product's gonna come out there, right? I mean, it's anyone's guess right now. I mean, even the Greninja was climbing a little bit in value. You can see right here, the Greninja was selling for 326 USD, right now selling for 407. If we pull this into the year graph, you can see the Greninja has had a pretty healthy climb upwards, and it's been pretty consistent in the market. I am interested to see where this Greninja kind of finds its price point, especially if more, because you know how it works is when reprints happen, a lot more people open their products, especially if they go closer to retail price. People feel more confident opening products. Problem with Prismatic Evolutions right now, right, is even if people did manage to get products at retail price, a lot of people would say, should I just sell it or should I just keep it sealed? And I think a lot of people are finding it hard to kind of open their Prismatic Evolutions because, you know, the pull rates are incredibly difficult. So that makes it challenging for more singles to enter the market. Though if prices do go to retail price and you can walk into a store and just buy Prismatic Evolutions off the shelf or just buy some Twilight Masquerade at your local card store, you will then see price reductions come down naturally. The problem is, will all these products just get scalped immediately? It is really anyone's guess. The only way I can see this working in everyone's favor is if Pokemon really flood the market with all these different sets and there becomes a little bit of an opportunity where it's just too hard to scalp product. Because like I always say, the only way scalpers will stop scalping product is if they eventually buy some of these products and they don't really get their returns straight away. The reason why it works so well, and it's kind of caused this vicious cycle, because if someone buys Prismatic Evolutions for retail price, they literally have no risk in doing that because they know they can resell it for close to double the price straight away. Once that changes is when the market will change. And hopefully, you know, I am kind of hopeful that these things will change in the future, but you know, it's anyone's guess right now. And again, we can see Surging Sparks booster boxes. This one is probably going too high too soon. I mean, it is such a recent set. I mean, what are we? We're in March. This released in November, dude. Look at this, man. Check this out. Last 3 months, selling for 208 USD a booster box in December, and right now selling for 262 USD per booster box. Really inflated Surging Sparks. I mean, it is a cool set. We all kind of like it, but at the same time, it kind of was released at the perfect time because Pokemon TCG Pocket came out very, very early November, late October. Surging Sparks released right early early November, so it was kind of like this perfect storm that happened with Surging Sparks. I do think some price corrections could take place here. Also, the top chase card of Surging Sparks, which is the Pikachu, has had interesting price movements. You know, this one was selling close to 500 USD in December, currently selling for around 458. Not much of a price decrease though. You know, it's anyone's guess where some of these prices are going to go and depends on how much more product people can get. And of course, you can see Paldean Fates is climbing quite high. You can see in December, booster bundles were selling for 41 USD. Right now, they're selling for 57 USD. I mean, Paldea Fates really deserves a reprint because it was only released in January of 2024. Paldea Fates was probably a little bit underlooked during early 2024, but now it's very desired. But interesting things are happening with Paldea Fates. As you can see, the Bubble Mew, check this out in the last 3 months, selling for 265 USD, went all the way to 419 USD. And you can see right now, look at that, selling for 371. A very small correction is happening with Bubble Mew, but I do think if more of these products enter, if more people feel confident to open it, depending on how much more stock gets in the market, maybe we can see Paldea Fates come down in value. It is anyone's guess, though. You know, this is an interesting time to be within the hobby, and I think it's getting exciting, but at the same time, I'm hoping that a lot of people can get product if it does release, but then again, we are in a different period entirely right now. Now, I mean, as I'm saying this, I think there is a chance that the market can crack and prices can come down because it can only really last for so long, right? And we have seen examples of this happening before, though this new reprint may be different because illustration rares are changing Pokemon investing entirely. Because I mean, look at Paldea Evolved, right? Marill in PSA 10 is selling for 400 USD and Magikarp in PSA 10 sells for around 1,800 USD. And it does make you wonder what caused this huge shift for illustration rares and what does it mean for the future of Pokemon investing? Well, I actually unpack that question in detail right here. Within this video on screen, I'll look over the current illustration rare market and showcase how they've completely changed the game. If you're interested in that topic, click the video on screen and we'll talk more about it there. I'll see you right there.